Let him ease into it. If he needs 4 life coaches, great.
All right. 4 life coaches, 10 life coaches. Andrew doesn't give anybody a hard time.
Dude, you're just
welcome back to a Friday episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Browns. Oh my. This one's cool. We're recording this one in the morning before noon. So my coffee's still kicking in, which is going to be amazing. You're in for a treat.
He wants to be a life coach, but people are choosing other life coaches ahead of him, and that's really the root of all of the issues, right? It's like if you're going to have a life coach, Andrew should be it, right? I mean, Luca Nation, he's basically a life coach to thousands. Everybody listening to this, he's a life coach. So when somebody says to him, hey, I hired a life coach, and it wasn't him, just kind of sends him off sideways a little bit. He gets very upset. So that's what we were talking about as we hit the record button, in case you're curious there, Luca Nation.
That's right. My best buddy's here. He's on sabbatical. Give him a shout out. Mr. Brophy, Mr. Taylor Brophy used to build planes for Boeing. And then he's like, F this. I'm just going to go travel the world for a year. So, yeah, I mean, he's on his journey.
And his journey has led him to you? His journey has led him to you.
His journey's led him to Mexico and living in another country, learning Spanish, eating good food, meeting women and friends. So I'm just here for the ride. No, but I think I'd be a great life coach. I think maybe I never wanted that to be my main squeeze. I wanted that to be kind of my side piece, if that makes sense.
100%. Listen, because I'm going to do your advertisement right now. Right now, LeBron James, if you're out there and you need a life coach, Andrew Goldberg is here to coach you in life and teach you how to make the people around you better. Is that good? Can we make that like your commercial? No?
No? Guys, it's all jokes. It's all jokes. You get a little bit of behind the scenes. You get a little bit about what's going on in our lives, a little vlog-like. Maybe we'll go that route one day. But I have a few different topics here, okay? So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the games last night. Both the games in the NBA were amazing. We had
what do you mean both?
Sixers Heat.
The national televised games?
Yeah.
There's a lot of games, okay.
Sixers Heat, and then we had Suns Blazers. It was cool, man. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Heat right now. And what I saw yesterday, they came out and they punched the Sixers in the mouth. I haven't seen a game like that in a while where, when they used to put in big men to send a message, hard foul, get in the face. Well, they put in Udonis Haslem, who's played 3 minutes all season. He gets in Dwight Howard's face. Then they put in, I can't remember the name of the other big guy. It's like Deadman. And he starts talking trash. So it was obvious the Heat were really wanted that game. It reminded me of like the 90s kind of Eastern Conference when they used to the Bad Boy Pistons. Remember that team?
Yep.
So it was cool. It was really cool to watch that game. Even though my Sixers got destroyed, it was like, wow, playoffs were right around the corner. That's what that game showed me.
I watched a little more intently last night because Top Shot had a FanDuel promotion where if you entered into a daily fantasy thing for Top Shot, it was free. Like the top couple of winners won hollow packs. It was like a $17,000 giveaway, and then all the way down you win a quarter, you win $1, you win like credit and stuff like that. I did like 80-something thousand people who entered into this thing. And I don't really do fantasy that often, but I was watching the games because of it. So I watched a lot of games last night. I watched a lot of basketball being played. So, there were some good games. There were definitely some good games. I had Devin Booker in my lineup, so that was not a good play. It was a waste of money.
Chris Paul would have been a good play.
Booker did not show up, and I was doing so good too. I had Cole Anthony, who like nobody else played, and he had a really good game. Even though he didn't play basically the whole fourth quarter because his team was getting blown out, but he had a good game. So I didn't win, obviously, but I watched some games. Can I tell you what stuck out the most to me for cardboard relevant? And I guess I'll make this today's cardboard relevant. It will be totally hidden, and these are the kind of things that I like to look for, right? So Minnesota, where are they in the West? They're nowhere, right?
Second to last, I believe.
Pretty terrible, right? So they will not be in the play-in games. They will not be in the playoffs. And in 3 days, people will have completely and totally forgotten about them. They will be basketball irrelevant, right? So what will be lost is the fact that in the third quarter, I watched a Minnesota game, and they played against Denver. So that's a tough matchup, right? I watched Jokic play, and he's ugly. I mean, that dude is ugly. I mean, just every shot is just like a weird, ugly, like off balance. But it goes in.
Have you seen the shot where it's a fadeaway off of 1 foot jumping to the side?
Yeah. He kind of did one of those last night, and as he was falling to the side, Carl Anthony Towns fouled him while the shot was going in, and you're like, what the hell am I watching here? It's like a uncoordinated ballet. It's like very weird. But yeah. So anyway, I watched that game, and Anthony Edwards had 18 points. And I'm like, this kid is really good. Anthony Edwards. I mean, like, no one's going to be talking about him. No one's going to be, he's going to be the offseason. He's going to be forgotten, and you're going to have some bargains on his cards. 18 points. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? You're like, 18 points. That's what he scored in the third quarter. He had 18 points in the third quarter. Alone. 1 quarter, right? Like, that's like big time. That's like Steph Curry kind of shit, So I mean, and it was all over the place. It was 3-pointers. It was power dunks. It was, and he smiles the entire time. It's like infectious. You know what I mean? It's like, the feeling I had with Tatis before Tatis blew up. Face of the game kind of stuff, dancing in the dugout. It's the same kind of thing with this kid. And, I'm a Hornets guy, and I think LaMelo is fantastic. And I will be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. I was not in love with this draft class. I was not. I mean, I coming in, people give me a hard time telling me, you're not giving this draft class enough love. LaMelo is going to be great. There's going to be some, Patrick Williams is going to be good. Conrad, who we work with, obviously, he's a big Patrick Williams fan. Who knows who's going to come up? You like Isaac Okoro. I mean, there's all these names, right? I watched Edwards last night. People are not going to know that he did that because it's just buried on a bad team in a box score that was just like nothing. I mean, he is good. And he's like a high flyer. He's a highlight reel. And his shot and his game looks like it could really be improved on. He's so young. So anyway, that's not my play for the day, but we were talking about what we saw in basketball, so I figured let me share that with you. I mean, for cardboard relevant-wise, he's irrelevant because of the team he's on. And, there are probably people who have watched basketball long enough and say Karl Anthony Towns is a stud. Guy puts up 20-something and 10 every game, right? But it doesn't matter, and no one knows about him because he's in Minnesota, right? So does that team become more relevant? They got a nice young core. Are they going to be more in the news because A-Rod is a part owner now? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things going for him, right? But I got to tell you, I watched that game, and that kid, he looked good.
He looked good to you.
Yeah, he looked good to me.
He puts up really nice numbers. And he's got the it factor. So I can't think of anything negative to really say about Edwards. I really can't.
Just the team.
Yeah, the team, the organization. They're not great at player development. They're not. We'll see. We will see. I'm surprised that team can't win more with the roster because Karl Anthony Towns is a really good player. D'Angelo Russell isn't a bad player either, and you have Anthony Edwards. I mean, you have 3 pieces to build around. Curious that there may be a reason why that team hasn't won in a long time. Why they've given, they drafted Levine, Zach Levine. They gave him away. They had Jimmy Butler there with Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. They broke up that trio. So I mean, we'll see. It's scary for me sometimes investing in players on organizations like that are kind of like a black hole.
Listen, I gotcha 100%, and I would love to tell you that I have all the answers on it. It's more of just people will stay away from him. People will stay away from that team. And I think what winds up happening because of that is he will be out of sight, out of mind. He already kind of was because of the team that, and their lack of success. But, I mean, guys, take a look. Take a look at some highlights. I mean, even if you're not a full game watcher, take a look at some of the highlights just from that third quarter. Like, the entire thing is on display, man. And he ended up with 29 points for the game, right? Like, take a look at the highlights of that one. The Timberwolves, they did not play the game well. I mean, they're 22-48 against the Nuggets, who are 46-24, but they put up 37 points on the Nuggets in the third quarter. They put up some points, and he obviously was half of those. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Let's
get into something fun, guys. Okay, so Cage and I actually we've never talked about this, and we have different strategies for how we go about it. And I'm gonna put him on the spot, see what he thinks.
I can't wait to hear where this is going. Here we go.
So now that we've done 310 episodes or so, most of our episodes are daily, what we call plays.
Yep.
And I think of it as kind of like I've compared this to CNBC Fast Money, kind of a watch list of take a look at these guys or this opportunity or this action hero set or this box or this release, whatever it is.
Yep.
But we've never talked about how we go about investing in our own plays. So let's talk
True.
about that. Let's give because you and I have actually we have different strategies. Let's give our audience a little bit of a sneak peek so that they know that we're genuine and honest and upfront on how do we play it, right? Because I'm sure now that we've been gaining more traction, our listener count has gone through the roof. People see our plays like the Russell Westbrook play, Harry Potter boxes, and down the road. When they see those clips, some people were like, "Wow, great play," but some people could be thinking other things. So let's clarify it for people. Let them in. Let's let them see
Sure.
how the
So
sausage
I'll
is
give you
made.
mine, and then I'm gonna be curious about yours. But I mean, since basically the first episode, what I've done is I said if I'm gonna give a play, it's not gonna be something that I buy at those prices for 72 hours, right? I'm gonna give kind of like lead time, right? Because I don't want to be buying the cards and then I'm telling you go out and buy these cards and you're buying them for a higher price than what I'm buying them for just because I bought them first. That would be pretty shitty. That's not all of what happens, right? I'll tell you in reality, what winds up happening is a lot of times I don't buy the card because by the time 72 hours has come, either they're all gone off of eBay because our audience has gone in and scooped them all up, or the price has just gotten to be so high to still get one that I can't even get in on them. So I will tell you probably, especially in the last 3-4 months, that half the plays that I've made on low dollar cards, ones that are not. I try not to do like high volume plays. It's one thing, John Morant, Prism PSA 10, that's fine. Obviously, I'll be able to get those, 72 hours after I make the play. But we give low pop cards that are just out there. Oh, grab these. Byron Buxton, whatever it is. Like by the time I tried to make a Byron Buxton purchase of the card that there were none left because there were only 3 or 4 of them available on eBay at the price that I was talking about anyway, right? These low pop cards. So I'll tell you, for like the last 3 or 4 months, I have not even been able to get in on a lot of the plays, and I wish I could, because I want to ride along with you guys on a lot of these things, right? I still monitor them. I put them in my watch list, and it's amazing because what happens is after I give a play, I watch it in eBay, and then I'll get a million emails. Your watch list is no longer here. Your item is no longer here. Your item is no longer here. If after 72 hours I go back into my watch list and it's still there, I'll grab it. But most of the time I watch them and they're gone, which is great because it means you guys are listening and you guys are taking advantage of what you think is a low priced card or something that you can make some money on. That's probably the majority of them. I'll tell you, there are other buckets though, right? There are other buckets. Like yesterday's play on like golf wax. I was able to get one of those from my LCS. I'm not buying a ton of those, and I'm not raising the price of those. I was able to get one from my LCS, and in doing so, I looked up the product. I watched some breaks, and I think it's a valid thing to buy. Now, when I give that play, I'm not going out and buying 10 more of them myself. I already have my one. That was something I ordered months ago. If I got it in and looked at it and saw breaks and were like, this is crap. Like I wouldn't pay for this. I wouldn't give it as a pick. But that's not one I'm planning on even buying even after that 72-hour window, buying more. But I already have mine. You know what I mean? So I have my stake in that. I guess a third bucket for what happens with the plays are like my play today. It's something that I have owned for quite some time. I don't plan on buying much more of it, but it's something that I bought and think that it's something that's undervalued still. And I can go into my rationale for why I purchased it. But it's not something I plan on, layering many more of. Like, for example, a great example of that is the 1992 Bowman Mariano Rivera card. I mean, if you go back to my account, you see pictures of me owning that card for months before we gave it as a play. I never bought more of them because I had enough. I didn't buy more after giving it as a play, but it did not go up when I bought it initially. It did not go up in price the way I thought it was. It was an undervalued play. And we talked about it, and it did. It started to go up in value. It has since come down a little bit in value from its peaks, like everything has since February. But yeah, I mean, those are the buckets of cards. There are things that I think are undervalued that I probably already own, and I'll try to tell you I own them. Like I did tell you, I own that Mariano Rivera. We try to be as upfront as we can with you guys. If it's something that's out there on eBay now, I don't own it, and I'm like, all right, this is I think this is a bargain. the last thing I want to do is go run out and buy it before the episode posts or right as it's posting, and get into a battle trying to buy it from you guys. That defeats the whole purpose of what we're doing here. The value in the show is here's a better way of doing it. I hate getting messages when it's like, hey, Kate, you gave a play and said it was $12, but I went on eBay and there's none for less than 22. And it's like 3 hours after the show happened, right? And I'm like, all right, well, people listen to the show. Hundreds of people listen to the show in the first hour after it releases. They're buying it. They're going in and buying it for 12, 13, 14, and that's why it's not available anymore at the price I gave. I even started taking pictures of the ones that are available when I make the play, just so that I can write back, here's a couple of examples of the ones that were there, and they're not there anymore. I will tell you, most recently, the play that I've jumped on the most that I made, and there's still a ton of them out there, is the Kobe Bryant, game used jersey. That was one where, I did wait the 72 hours. I think I might have even waited longer than that to start buying those. But there's hundreds of those, all in that price range, even cheaper that, recently than the price range that I was talking about as well. There's no shortage of those. So, but I think there will be a shortage of those soon. So, yeah, I mean, I hope that answers your question. I kind of went off on a little bit of a runner there.
No, I love it. And those are your prerogative. Like I gave you the floor to do that because people want to know. People are curious, and our audience and our listener count is growing. If we back up to when we first started the show, the whole reason I started the show was because I wanted to help share stories and strategies that have worked for me in the past to make money on sports cards, right? Like if we just take the Tyler Hero play, I remember talking about how his cards were 1/10 of the Zion cards. And I look for opportunities like this when it comes to arbitrage, where someone who's going to be making a postseason run, his card shouldn't be 1/10 of the guy that's going to be sitting on the bench. I gave the Russell Westbrook play. What I said, guys, Westbrook is someone that's the Oscar Robertson of our generation. He's averaged a triple-double. He's a winner. He's a competitor. And what is he missing? A championship? Okay. But his card is sitting at $200, where other icons, other legends are significantly more valuable or expensive. I've famously said, we're here to teach you how to fish, not give you a fish, right? And now let's take a step and look at, like, here I am. I'm well aware that, I could buy a card before I give the play, and the card will go up in value. I'm saying, okay, well, that's not the route I want to go. I could also wait and buy cards after I give the play. But there's the same kind of effect. So what I decided was I actually haven't bought a card. And I told you guys this in the January, February timeframe. I'm kind of sitting on the sidelines. I wanted to devote all my attention, all my energy to building this podcast, this network, and sharing information, sharing knowledge, creating this video clips, hiring a content team, hiring videographers, which, by the way, you guys have reached out ever since that episode. Please keep reaching out. We're looking for videographers. So if you want to join what we're doing, please, please, please. But the whole goal was to provide education and a bit of entertainment, add value. And I went all in on that. I said, I'm going to give plays. I'm only going to give plays that I believe in. But I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines and creating this network to help you guys learn from the strategies that we have. From Cage, who I think is one of the smartest guys in the hobby, bar none. Bringing on guests. Bringing on other people who Bro Namath. I mean, guys, we get more messages about Bro Namath than anyone else. Like, it's really funny because he knows his stuff. So bringing on guests and bringing you knowledge and strategies that can help you profit. So believe it or not, I've been sitting on the sidelines. We track our plays. And by the way, Luca Nation, you guys do an amazing job of that Google sheet that, you guys are all helping track our plays, when it was given, what time in the episode. Scott DeFacele, thank you so much for putting
did you see his message this morning? Hey, I was listening to the January 9th episode, and you were talking about buying Luca's Series 1 Top Shot 3-pointer for $4. And it's like
insane.
Over $1,000. I'm like, oh man, I wish I bought more myself.
that moment topped out at $3,000. From $4. From $4 on January. Like, I mean, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Like, I think it's we always want to be honest and genuine and upfront with you guys. So I saw more and more messages as we've been getting more popular. So I wanted to, dispel any myths out there and just come out here and let you guys know that's Cage's strategy. This is my strategy. We've actually never discussed it, but here it is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in truth, I will tell you, and we talked about it probably a couple months ago also, I have stopped buying as many cards. I mean, if you look at my eBay account, I really don't have that much stuff. And the Kobe thing I started buying into, definitely, because I don't really have too many Kobe's. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely purchased a lot less this year than I have, and that's because the market it's doing its price thing. You know what I mean? It's I've been more what do you want to call it? More disciplined. I have more sealed wax now than I ever have before. I'm buying sealed wax. Hey now, I'm keeping it sealed. So it's fun. But yeah, man, listen, I guess that's an important piece of information that's out there. Love to hear you guys' take on it. But the truth is, we want you guys to be able to, to find value in what we're doing. And the last thing we want is to be in a spot where you can't get the cards that we're giving plays on, because that would be kind of silly, right? I mean, what's the point?
Well, the place I really want to get to is where Luca Nation audience is saying, hey, have you seen this opportunity? It reminds me of the strategy you've talked about here. I've spotted an opportunity there. I believe in that, because if you learn the strategy, if you learn how to spot the arbitrage, if you learn from the tips and tricks that Cage talks about, Bro Namath talks about, Wharf, all of the guests we've had on, that's just going to benefit you, because you won't even have to keep listening to us. You'll start spotting those plays in the future. Let's talk PSA real quick. This was a really awesome topic. So someone in our OG sports card family group, the Gary V group, asked, is PSA grading way tougher all of a sudden, or is this just being overstated? I saw one person said they went 6 for 97 on gems on a bulk sub. Great question. Great question. This is what someone responded, Cage, and I'll let you run with it right after. Way overstated, Dave. Dave's cards 32. So plural Dave's, plural cards 32. Please give him a follow. This is one of the best follows. Awesome guy. Dave's cards 32. Way overstated. It used to be nines were the raw price plus grading cost. Then nines grew in value and eights became raw plus grading cost. So people started throwing everything at PSA because the worst case, they broke even if stuff came back to 8. So they rushed crap through and didn't scrutinize or renew the grading and weren't tough on themselves for what should be a 10. Wipe cards down with the cloth, cut off the corner off the soft sleeves, etc. And now that crap they sent last summer is coming back, and they're seeing it for the first time. They're blaming PSA for their own faults or not knowing what they're doing. Cage, what's your take? You just got a sub back. Where do you stand on this topic?
I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, I'm sure it is. I mean, it'd be naive to think that that people are the cards that PSA are getting are the same quality that they were getting before, right? Obviously, more people got into this, more new people got into this, and people are sending in a lot of cards that might have already been passed over. You buy it on eBay, and it's everybody got into the grading. Buying raw now, very difficult, right? At least that was the thing, previously. But I will tell you this, and this is just my take, my own personal take. I look at, there are group subbers out there who publish their cards. They have like tracking sheets and the whole deal. And you can check what they're getting back. Like everybody's stuff that's being submitted. You want to click on the most recent returns from group subbers in the list, you can. I'm looking at, that's where I get my data from. And if you looked at those things 6 months ago, 8 months ago, you would have seen 65, 70, 72, 75% gem rate return on these cards, especially in modern cards. If you look at the most recent returns, you're seeing gem rates below 50% from these same group subbers, the guys who, they've been doing it for quite some time. And it's not just, you're getting a post from Joey Numbnuts, who decided that, he was going to switch from sneaker flipping to, card grading. And he sent in a whole bunch of cards that he picked up at the show that guy already cracked them out of PSA 6 cases, and he thought he was going to get 10s, right? So that's, sure, there are a couple people out there that fit that bill. Personally speaking, I will tell you, I think it is the addition of tech. I think it's the addition of, I think they are PSA and probably other grading companies are tightening their, their grading requirements and whatnot. I think that, they're probably using scanners, they're probably using, different measurements. And the best piece of evidence I have of that is I'm seeing a ton more N6s, min size requirements, which, possible factory defects, possible, miscuts that come out of Panini or come out of Topps or come out of whoever the cards, especially with more vintage stuff. These are things that used to slip by that 1/64th of an inch, that slight difference miscut wise on a card that's out of the factory. It looks like a mint card. It would have been graded a 9 or maybe even a 10. And now PSA is sending them back as N6 min size. And I'm seeing a lot of those. People sending me pictures of those after my, more recent cardboard relevant episode. Because, look, I got an N6. I got a this. I got a that, right? Also, I'm seeing in my own stuff more 6s, 7s, and 8s. When I never saw that. Like, I've graded thousands of cards. Like, I've graded so many cards where, you either got 10s or 9s. That was it. The whole grade was 10s or 9s. And I'm grading the same type of cards, your prisms, your chromes, you name it. I'm getting back 6s. And these are things I'm pulling out of packs myself. So I'm like, what is it? What's on there? And the only explanation I have for that is maybe in addition to, scanning and measuring a better, which is great. If PSA is getting better at it, that's fine. It's a different standard. And they're now measuring the cards and N6 size requirements there. Maybe they're also doing a better scanning of the surface of the cards. Maybe those chromes and prisms, they're catching the surface scratches. Maybe they're giving more than a little, eyeball once over. And maybe it's not that they're grading harder now. Maybe they just weren't grading that hard before. But that's just two sides of the same coin, right? That's, what was a 9 is now a 7. So I don't know what it is. But I believe, part of it may be that card quality being sent is lesser and that people are not really doing a good job of sending them and submitting them to graders. But I do believe that there is a difference in how PSA is evaluating these cards.
It's a cool topic. Gary just came back into that OG group and he said, "How's the card market?" I said, "Well, no one's buying my Tyler Hero Prism PSA 10s for $300 anymore."
Listen, the Heat look good, right? Maybe he heats it up in the playoffs. You never know. I mean, his haircut didn't do him any favors.
A little Jim Carrey haircut.
Yeah, a little Dumb and Dumber Lloyd Christmas style.
He looked different last year in the bubble. Not like his play. Like I just feel like he lost either a step or a little confidence in his moves. He I don't know. I don't see him clicking into gear in the playoffs this year. Now that teams know how to stop him too. If he puts in some work in the offseason, he does have potential. He still needs to find his place in the game. I think maybe that's what it is.
So forget about Tyler Hero. We're going to get into our plays, but I have something for you.
You hate talking about Tyler Hero.
Well, because we talked about him a lot, and he was the great white hype, and we're just going to let him die right there. So here's my question for you, because I want to get your take on this, and I think it provides some value. There are more people out there in the world right now who come to me with this question, or come to me with this topic, than I care to even, comment on the number, but I want to get your expert advice on it. Let's just say, hypothetically, your rich uncle, your neighbor, Egot, your rich uncle Egot, exactly, comes to you and says, "Hey, Andrew, you obviously know what you're doing in cards, okay? You obviously have an idea of what you're doing. I would like to give you $100,000 to manage for me. And, no downside to you. It is what it is. But, in a year or two, I'd love to see what it's worth and, maybe give you a piece of any gains we make and blah, blah, blah. And you're kind of running it. Let's just say, hypothetically, that was given to you. Especially given where the market is right now. Where are you putting that $100,000? And by the way, Luca Nation, I'd love to hear Andrew's answer. But I'd love to hear yours also. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. If you're listening to this, send me a message. Or maybe we'll put up a little post on this. Maybe our content team will put up a little, hey, if you have $100,000 to spend, where would you spend it? Shoot.
50% in Dogecoin, 25% in Shibcoin,
oh my God.
20% in Asscoin, and 5% into Cagecoin.
ass coin.
No, I do get that question a lot too. I think it's the wrong question. I've learned your life is a direct product of the questions you ask. And I think bad questions lead to bad answers. I believe that now more than ever. And truthfully, if we go a little Yoda, a little life coach, if we go full circle on how this episode started, I would take really strong inventory, really good inventory of the questions you're asking yourselves in your head. Most of them are unconscious. Most of them are like, why can't I lose weight? Why can't I get out of debt? Why can't I do X? When you ask yourselves those questions, you got to understand life is a mirror. Life will bring you back exactly what you ask of it. Now, what I would say is,
Dude,
I would
what
ask
the hell are
yourself,
you talking about?
it's 100% accurate.
People are listening and they're saying he asked you where you'd spend $100,000. You made a joke, which is great. People got some giggles. We got some ass coin, some Dogecoin. But then you went off on this weird little like life coach tangent about how it's a bad question. The question, where would you put the money? What cards you buying?
Stay with me, brother, because
I'm with you.
I believe this. I believe this wholeheartedly. I went through this. I was asking myself bad questions. Like, I was like, why am I always in debt? Why can't I win my bets? Why can't I find the right investment? Why am I not successful? Why can't I lose weight? When you ask that, you got to understand life is a mirror. So what I'm saying is, the question I would actually ask if I'm your rich uncle is I want to get into the card hobby. What are some things I should know about the hobby? What are some trends that you've seen over the years? What are some patterns that you've spotted? What are some things that surprised you about the card hobby or investments in the card hobby in the last year? What's the bellwether card in the hobby? What's the card that everyone wants?
Now we're finally getting into it. We're finally getting into the ask. So when you ask yourself that, and that's the right question.
When you ask me a question, you should be okay with me giving the response that I want, not necessarily the response that you want me to give.
Okay, so ask me a question, any question. The first question that comes off the top of your head. Ask.
How much weight have you lost in 2 weeks?
Bicycles. That's what you just did. Okay? That is what you just did.
No,
so,
that's not what I did.
Fine. It's fine to ask questions. It's fine to expect an answer, right? But I mean, like if I said, what cards would you buy with $100,000? What cards would you buy with $100,000? Guys, guess what? The Force has a dark side and a light side, and you're gonna have to build a lightsaber. And listen, Luke, that bad guy's your father, but ask the right questions. What the hell are you talking about?
Think about, if you're mad at me, think about how my parents and all the people in our surrounding family say when they ask me a question and I go into this like heady shit.
Every once in a while, right? I put myself into the shoes of our listening audience, and I said, $100,000 cards, go. And they've now gotten 5 minutes of, Dalai Lama.
Invaluable insight. Invaluable.
But trust me, they're sitting
priceless.
I can't. I've now suffered through this. Andrew, tell me what cards you would buy with the $100,000. Answer the actual question. No? Bicycle. Okay, so it's wonderful. Look at that.
You know what I'm saying, and
of course I do.
Cage is making a joke of it, but I stand by that. Please go back and re-listen because the ask yourself better questions, get better answers. It's not my words; it's what I've experienced. Really take inventory of the questions you ask. And now, I think the Charizard is a great buy
for $100,000.
Yeah. Okay, so the Charizard's a $40,000 card. I'd grab it in the 9 then.
The 9, okay. Give me, you got $60,000 left. Go. It's like we're shopping.
I would grab 2 Kobe rookies. I would probably go tops. I think the paper could give you more bang for the buck than the chrome.
Right. Okay.
I also kind of don't love that chrome. I don't know why. I don't like I like the paper a little bit more. It's cleaner. Right. So I'd go tops. And there's a reason I don't go my favorite Fleer Ultra and stuff like that because getting out of not as liquid cards is a lot more difficult when you're first into a hobby. So I'm going to go mainstream cards. So at least you could learn the hobby and you're kind of safe and protected. I would get a Jordan 9, a really nicely centered 9. I would even try to get a PWCC like E or whatever those A's are, like the exceptional ones. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
And I think you'd be at right around 80, 90K, and that's a bulletproof kind of trio or foursome there. And then the last 10K, I would buy what you really love. I would buy Marvel. I would buy nostalgic things. I would buy shows that you grew up on. If you were a French Prince of Bel-Air guy like me, I would buy some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air cards. If you like Marvel, I love Marvel Stan Lee. Like I really do. I'd buy a comic book. Maybe I'd buy some, I haven't actually brought this play up. Maybe this should be my play today. I think Mia Hamm cards. I mean, I said that to Rob on Rally after the show. I'm like, who is a more decorated U.S. soccer player than Mia Hamm? Like this 4-time NCAA champion, 2-time gold medalist, 2-time World Cup winner. She's married to No More Garcia Parra. Her commercials were so iconic. I don't know if you remember those Gatorade commercials. Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, I can do better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Those are, they just brought those back, but like those are super iconic. I would use the remaining 10% to play around and gamble. So that's how I'd play it.
Sing again for us, though. The audience wants to hear more.
Everything you can do, I can do better.
Love it. So I will make one comment, and then I'm gonna roll into my play, and then I'll let you do your play because you did your play.
Are you really gonna roll?
Yes, I'm gonna roll right into it. Right. So, but here's my one comment on this. No matter who I ask this question to, and even the people who come to me and ask, and then say, "Hey, here's what I plan to do with it," there is always, when it's $100,000, there's always one card that everybody has in there, and you even had it in there, and it's the Jordan Fleer in PSA 9. Everybody does it. And by the way, it's a good thing, because if that's what everyone's thinking about, well, then guess what? You're not the last person who's going to be approached with this. Hey, I'll give you 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, and go invest it for me. When the next people who do it are all going to be looking for that Jordan 9 too. So that means they're going to be buying it slightly more money than what you're buying yours for. So that's got to factor into the equation. So here's my play, right? And it is one of those,
Hold on. I got to put a bow on this whole.
Nice.
The questions thing. Okay.
Putting a bow on a
so
hole.
you guys need to understand. Cage made a joke of it, but it's no joke. And think about the movie.
Dude, I didn't make a joke. That whole section, I want you to go back and re-listen to it because it's great advice, but it does not fit where you put it. I mean, it just kind of stands alone, like just right there. I mean, bicycles are great, but they're not the answer to how much weight have I lost.
Now you see it. Maybe I've always stood alone. So. The movie Limitless, right? It's about harnessing the power of the mind. So you could harness the power of the mind if you know
using drugs.
Shoot me in the head right now.
Dude, don't bring up a movie. You know I'm gonna know it.
Your mind is like a Google search engine. So whatever you put into it, you will get the results back from it. Okay? So the point that I'm trying to make is be very intentional about asking the right questions that can return you the results that you're looking for. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I've gotten that question before, and I've answered it the exact same way one-on-one to people because I say, I can't give you a card. I want to give you a framework, a strategy, a mindset so that you can do this and you can learn this, not just one play. All right, done. Finito la commedia. Finito.
I like it, man. Listen. Hold on. Let's take a break with our audience, right, everybody?
I don't know how you tie in yoga to the mind, but okay, sure.
I'm one with the cards. I am one with the cards.
I didn't say that.
Okay, so my play. Ready, guys? So I'll make it quick before my phone battery dies. This is a long episode. I am a UFC lover. Can't wait for the fight tomorrow night. Opened up Prism UFC cards. I am shocked about the prices that some of these cards are getting. A $15,000 Conor McGregor, 15th-year card, all these fun things. And I gave you guys a play, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. It's an OG play. Hopefully some of my pals from the old buymmacards.com website are listening to this. I know you've shown me some Twitter love recently, so just a little shout out to you guys. I was on that a decade ago, and it kind of fizzled out like everything else in the world. But these guys will appreciate this. It's an OG type of play on the cards. I can't believe the prices that people are getting, and I gave that the Dunris Ring Kings, cards that were predated tops in 2009. So I'm gonna throw something out there. These guys might actually be mad at me for letting you know about this, right? I like when you're investing in something to go back to the beginning of it, right? The first, right? People love Prism, so that's why the 2012 Prism was the greatest thing in the world. People like Chrome, that's why they go back to 1996 Chrome, right? People go back to what the first of a series, the first refractors from Topps Finest in 1993, right? So Before, there were UFC cards in '09. UFC started in '93. But UFC kind of fizzled out, and the fight game, mixed martial arts, was huge in Japan, right? And there was a promotion called Pride, and all of the main guys were in Pride, the Pride FC, right? Everybody, Anderson Silva was in it for a little while. What some people consider the GOAT of mixed martial arts, Fedor Emelianenko, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, if not the greatest pound for pound fighter of all time, was in Pride. Wanderlei Silva. I mean, just you name it. Pride had all of the guys, right? So if you check out, I'm pretty sure the Pride, library and whatnot is actually, I think it might actually be owned now by the UFC. They might have bought it. I know they bought Strikeforce, but in any event, before Topps came out with their UFC product in '09, Pride FC had a 2006 set. These could be considered the first mainstream mixed martial arts cards, and it has a ton of the GOATs from UFC champions galore. Shogun Rua, like I said, Fedor. It's got Kevin Randleman. It's got all kinds of fun stuff. It is a completely underappreciated set for the same reason that those 2008 Donruss Ring Kings were underappreciated, because everybody who goes in now and is new to the hobby, new to the sport, and putting in Prism UFC, they'll say, "Oh, let me look at Topps UFC." They'll type in Topps UFC, and they'll pull up some Topps UFC cards. They're not typing 2006 Pride FC. It's just not something that people are looking for unless they know about it. And now you guys know about it. So this would be the first card. And what's cool about it is a legit set. There are like facsimile autos in silver, facsimile autos in gold. There are these awesome sparkle cards, that show people fighting on them. Rampage Jackson has one. There's just like everybody who's out there has one of these cards. There's also promo cards, and they're cheap. They're inexpensive. The promo cards were given out at events and whatnot. This Fedor has a promo card. It's on eBay, less than $100. $85. Their sparkle cards. I think the last couple of sparkle cards are sold for like $19, $20. I mean, just no money on these things, and these are the OG ones. This is like, people get into Pokemon now and then they jump back. What's the first Pokemon? Oh, the 1996. Oh, but maybe the 1995 Topps on. This is that, right? This is that first potential mixed martial arts set that's out there, mainstream full set that still has the names that Like I said, Anderson Silva, I think they just announced yesterday that he said he's going to probably retire and stop fighting. He's got a card in there. They all have cards in here. Josh Barnett. I mean, I can go on and on with the names. Take a look at it, guys, because if you're looking to get into UFC / mixed martial arts cards, buying the Prism cards right now, it's crazy. It's expensive as heck, and it's also driving up the Topps Chrome prices. It's driving up the Topps prices of the UFC cards. This is a cool way to get in on what I think is an undiscovered, area of MMA cards that still has the UFC guys in it and could be considered the rookie card for a lot of the greats of the UFC. So it's not going to have a Conor McGregor, obviously, because Conor McGregor was probably like 11 when the set came out. But, it's got all the guys you'd be looking for and then some. And because no one's really knows about it, the prices haven't gone up yet. So to my UFC OGs from Buy MMA Cards and on all the groups that are out there, I apologize because people are going to be buying these now, so you're not going to be able to pick them up cheap anymore. And by the way, what bucket this is in, these are cards that I own a few of myself, but I have owned them for about 20 years, not 20, 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is. 2009, I started buying them, 2010. So I've owned them for 10, 11 years. I don't plan on buying any more of these. I already have a bunch of them. So you just started off with what bucket we're going to be in. I have these cards. I think they're still pretty cheap. But it's just an area that I wanted to make sure that our crew knew about, our Luca Nation knew about, because, UFC is one of those growth areas. And these are cards that are just kind of undiscovered right now.
All right. It's my turn?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions for me?
Let's see. I'm gonna have to try to tailor it as like a good question. Like I have to make sure I ask the right question because if I ask the question the wrong way, it's bad.
There is no good or bad questions. There's questions that serve you, and there's questions that disempower you. Now I'll get right into my play. I have
Disempower.
2 plays. Disempower. 2 plays.
Boom.
Because I don't want to get heat for my first play, so I'll give you the second play. Mia Hamm. I brought her up earlier, but I've been talking about her for weeks. Such an established, revered athlete, one of the most accomplished U.S. athletes in history. Her stats, her accomplishments are insane. Let me read you some of them real quick, okay?
Married to Nomar.
That's number one,
Married
apparently.
To Nomar. Number one.
Two-time Olympic gold medalist. 2-time FIFA World Cup champion. When's the last time the U.S. team won a World Cup?
Recently, right? I mean,
Never. They've never won.
The women's team never won a World Cup?
Oh, yes. The women's team has.
But isn't she
talking about
on the women's team? Well,
yeah.
You didn't say that. You have to be better at asking questions, okay? Because you asked when was the last time the U.S. won a World Cup, and I said they win all the. But you meant
Luca Nation. Please send him some DMs to be like, let Andrew talk.
You meant to ask when was the last time the men's team. See, it's all about that was a disempowering
4 consecutive national championships with UNC. One of the 100. What is this? Twice named FIFA World Player of the Year. She was hailed by Pele as 2 of FIFA's 125 greatest living players. You can't even doubt her accomplishments. You could go with the Sports Illustrated, really tough grade, pretty expensive card, or you could buy a box. You could buy a box of her 1994 World Cup Upper Deck USA Contenders, has 36 packs in it, and you could get that for, I'm seeing one here on the internet, on eBay for $239 or best offer. Okay, so we'll see. $200 or less, let's assume, okay? $200 or less, you could buy that box, the 1994 Upper Deck. Glad Cage decided to leave us with a big black box on the screen, so I'm going to remove him. Now he is allowed back in as he walks around the house, cutting his leg on random arbitrary objects that are lying on the ground. My second play is the Shaquille O'Neal market. The Shaquille O'Neal market might be the most predictable market there is. It looks like a big middle finger over and over and over and over and over again. So his cards go up, hit record highs, come back down, then they're going to go up, then they go down. I don't know why it is. No clue. Maybe it's manipulated, maybe it's not. But you're able to get a lot of his cards for 50% of what they were at their highs, and it's still Shaq. So in my opinion, if we're going to do like a day trading kind of style to this, you could buy the F out of Shaquille O'Neal cards, okay? And the card I'll give you that I think is kind of underpriced is the Shaq Topps Gold SGC9, okay? New label, 250 or best offer. So you get a Shaq Topps Gold, which I realized Topps Gold is the way to go in that segment because first off, it's gold, it's a shorter print, and there's a lot of Shaq cards printed, frankly. And if we're gonna go with Shaq, let's go with the more rare card. And you get the SGC9. I'm looking at one right here. It's nicely centered, new label, new slab. 250 or best offer. So I think you could do a lot with that. You could crack it, send it to PSA, for example. If you want to just make money on the arbitrage, you could crack it, send it to BGS.
Back with an N6 min size, sure.
No, I don't want PSA to do that. Why would I want them to help my community lose money? That is the opposite. I want them to send it back to the 10.
Be careful cracking cards from the 90s there. Be careful cracking SGC slabs. Be careful, guys.
Well, careful, but think about the careful cracking a card that's $5,000. But if you could get this card for $150 to $175 to $200, isn't the juice worth the squeeze? Because even if PSA sends it back, you go to BGS with it, and maybe you get a BGS 9.5. So you could go that route, or you could keep it in the SGC holder. I just think at $250 for a Shaq rookie card, you're again buying at the floor, and it could become a $500. It was a $500 card before. And Shaq's going nowhere fast. Him and Charles Barkley, I even think they're going to ramp up their the feud, the showmanship. They're hilarious. So those are my 2 plays for today, both in the $200 range.
I like it's very specific. Plus, you know me, I'm never going to complain about a Shaq play. I think his stuff is underpriced, but I think it's also a great guide for the other guys that are out there now, the Zions, the Jaws, that kind of stuff, because Zion, Shaq's cards came in a time where there was overproduction and a lot of releases. You can buy his Upper Deck card, his Topps card, his Topps Gold card, his Fleer Ultra card, his Skybox card, his Hoops card, his Fleer regular card. There were a million releases, just like there are releases now. And it's exactly why you say, I think the Topps Gold is the card to go with, right? So who knows what the Zion card to go with is. Look at the pops, right? So I think a lot of the reason why Shaq's cards have limited upside is because of the fact that there are so many of them out there, and because they were mass produced. It's kind of a don't forget the history, otherwise you're doomed to repeat it. Look at what happened with Shaq's prices. Look what's going on with those, and you can probably extrapolate that out, put it over on Zion, Ja, and Luka, maybe and the pops that we have in the cards now. But I love Shaq, man. I will never. Anytime you can buy Shaq on a dip is the way to go. Love to play.
Thank you guys for sending me and writing me DMs about sending me hats. I'm so excited about that. You have no idea. Thank you guys for reaching out with interest, about joining our content team. If you just make graphics, if you're a blogger, we're looking for video editors specifically. But if you have any interest in joining what we're doing, thank you guys for already reaching out. And if you guys are interested, shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM on my personal page. I am Andrew Goldberg. Love you guys. Have an amazing weekend. We have a really special guest episode that we're recording today that's going to be airing on Sunday. Tomorrow, we're doing the Coffee with Cage. You guys asked for it. You missed the big man, so here we are. Appreciate you, Luca Nation. Have an amazing Friday.
Thanks, everybody.